Hey guys, welcome back to Doc Loyal Talks Comics, and it's time for this week's new pickups. So let's go ahead and dive in. First of all though, let me know in the comments, do you like the new setup? Do you enjoy these videos? Do you feel like it's more well put together, I guess for lack of terms? Let me know. All right, first up, we have Aquaman issue number 8. This is written by Jeremy Adams with art by John Timms, who finally returns to the title. And we have the final fight against Lord Dagon, who has held the ocean, all the waters of the world captive during this time. And as it says, you get to see the Justice League blue. Okay, so that's apparently what DC is pushing, because at the back of this issue, you get to see Simon Baz meet up with Red Tornado. And it's a 3 or 4 page preview of what they're calling Justice League Red. So apparently they're going to go with colors. And we'll just have to see whether that's interesting or not. But the book opens and you get to see Arthur is a young man with his father, and his father is trying to teach him. You know, I tried to save, he tried to save some people during a violent storm or a hurricane or something along those lines, and he didn't. He was unable to save them. So he's upset and he says, I don't know if I can do this. I feel defeated. And his father says, remember the words to be unconquerable. You have to face life on life's terms. Become stronger than the pain, than the hurt, than the evil that tries to bring you down. You have to rise above it like the tide. So here, he's trying to get his compatriots to fight Dagon till their last breath. His artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It's great to have John Timms back on the title. I think he makes a really good counterpoint to the writing by Jeremy Adams. I think they make an amazing team. So you see Garth and Jackson get attacked by Dagon, who sends what appears to be sea serpents of energy towards them. You see Vivian, you see Zan, you see all of these characters, and finally Dagon says, I'm tired of hiding behind this humanistic skin. Let me show you who I truly am. And he brings out that huge, violent personality, almost like the Devil Hulk within the Hulk. And he says, come little king, let me see your bravery now. And just as you would expect from Arthur Curry, he challenges Dagon. Only to fall. But what did his father's words say earlier in the issue? Do not allow yourself to become conquerable. Be unconquerable. Don't stop fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. It's a variation of, with great power comes great responsibility, but it's no less powerful and no less a call to action. So I won't show you any more pages after this, but you get to see Arthur rise again. So the resurrection angle is not lost on me, that Arthur and King Arthur and the sword and a resurrection, and that Arthur will come back when his people need him the most. The team on this book is doing an absolutely amazing job of making me love Aquaman for 8 solid issues now. So if you haven't read this book, go back and see if you can find a trade of the first 6 issues and then pick up with 7 and now 8. And I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. My book of the week is Conan the Barbarian. And Conan the Barbarian number 23 is written by Jim Zub with art by Ferocious Fernando Dagnino. And here we get to see the continuation of the story with Zula, the warrior, the shapeshifter that has met Conan in battle and yet saved him before and now saves him again. From Arthur Bast. And they decide that they're going to go find out from Tathaman what his plan is. So, cutting into the young lady, Zula becomes Arthur Bast for the rest of the evening in order to see how this plan is going to go. The artwork on this title, although it's not as dynamic as Roberto de la Torre, is absolutely amazing. You get to see the power of the sorcerer. You get to see the blades. You get to see Conan get injured. You get to see all of these things in this issue that's just packed full of action, and it's building and building and building with this Serpent King storyline. And it's just, I don't know, I saw Mike Spiderslayer talking in a video last night about how older books are less decompressed. It might take you 20 or 30 minutes to read one of those books as opposed to reading something like Aquaman. And I'm not saying it took me 3 minutes to read Aquaman. It was not a quick read like that, but it was a faster paced story. This is slower and methodical, but not in a bad way. This is energetic when it needs to be. It's full of action. It's full of swashbuckling adventure. It's what you expect from a Conan book. Just like when you open a Spider-Man book, you expect Spider-Man to be swinging around the city and to be getting attacked by Vermin or Green Goblin or some other dastardly villain. This is what you expect. You expect a rich world. You expect more than just Conan going out and being a mindless killing machine. Instead, you want to live in the world of Samaria, of Conan, and all of these other wonderful lands that Robert E. Howard built up to give you Conan. But look at this. Look at this 2-page spread. That is absolutely gorgeous. The colors pop. It's amazing what these guys are able to do. Titan, you should be proud of yourself. I say it every time an issue comes out. You should definitely be proud of yourself with the colorist. And actually, the colorist on that, I'm going to give him a shout out. Let's see here. The colorist is Dangerous Diego Rodriguez. Diego, knock yourself out, man. You absolutely knocked this out of the park. You should be proud. Everybody that's involved in this title should be proud of exactly how far this book has come. The love that Jim Zub has for the character of Conan and the depth of the world that he's building cannot be understated. It's just absolutely, it brings a smile to my face every time I read this book. And that's almost 2 years in. And I have yet to find an issue that I really don't have a smile on my face. Yes, occasionally there may be an issue that's a little bit subpar, just a little bit, but it's still just fun. And that's really all I can say about that as we build to awesome things coming in the Conan book. Conan 23 book of the week. All right, I'll talk about this in a greatest hits video, since I've been doing the 7th, now the 8th issue of Fantastic Four on the greatest hits videos. So we'll talk about Prisoners of the Puppet Master. Again, you have Stan Lee on writing, you have Jack Kirby on artwork, you have some of the very first awesome Marvel comics in this affordable format. I believe it was all of $4.99, and you get all of the original ads, and you get everything minus it being a little bit smaller that you would have gotten in the original Fantastic Four issue number 8. So more to come on that one later on. This was a very, very, very close runner-up for Book of the Week. Green Lantern Corps issue number 7. Also written by Jeremy Adams, co-written by Morgan Hampton, with art by Fernando Pesserin, and Claire Albert is one of the inkers. We get the Starbreaker Supremacy Part 2. In the first issue, in Green Lantern, issue number 25, the Sorrow Lantern was lit, and all emotions have died. People are just walking around empty. They see things, but they don't quite understand anymore. Because without emotion, what is passion? What is positivity, negativity? What is happiness, joy, sadness? None of these things exist now because everybody's just a blank slate. You can kick them in the toe and they're not going to get upset about it. You can shoot their best friend in front of them and they're not going to get upset about it. They're just going to say, such is life. These things happen for a reason. Emotion has been replaced with rationality. And there is a place in the world for rationality, but not necessarily here. So you get to see Starbreaker, the cosmic vampire, sucking the life out of this planet, just bringing it to its knees. I'm really enjoying this story more than I have any right to. You get all of these lanterns, you get the Ring trying to talk John Stewart into action, and instead you get, you get Jade Stone and Aya. So you get Jade Stone, the robot, and Aya. And they're both artificial creations. So they haven't lost their emotional punch to anything that's going on. So they still act as though they're human. They act as though things matter. But they see all of this indefensibility, all of this dead emotion around them, and they know that this cannot continue on. This is not the way the world was meant to be. So in this picture by Pesserin, you get this really wicked, evil, sorrow central battle. You get to see Nathan Broom, who I also think is a really cool name because you get Broom from John Broom, who was one of the original creators of Green Lantern in the Silver Age. So it just feels like a love letter to Green Lantern itself. But they have to break into the source wall in order to free the... Remember when Jeff Johns said that Parallax was not an evil version of Hal Jordan, but instead it was the manifestation of fear? Okay. All of the emotional spectrum, all the colors, have these different spirit animals, as we'll call them. And they've been locked away since the ignition of the Sorrow Lantern Corps. So they're trapped within the source wall. and now it's up to Green Lantern. When I say Green Lantern, I mean John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Hal Jordan, all of them together with more, in order to break them free, break these avatars free. Even though this is only part 2 of this book, I can't wait for part 3, because it's absolutely amazing the amount of love and tender care that Jeremy Adams has given to these characters. This is a renaissance in the style of Jeff Johns, circa 2005, 2006. All right, we're almost done, guys. We only have 3 more books. Spawn, Hell Hath Arisen, Part 5. So you have Todd McFarlane as writer, and you have Brett Booth as artist. You get this really wicked looking dude on this first cover, on the first interior page. And it's kind of weird, you know, in a funny sort of way, because he says, you know, he pretty much just says, you know, I need you to touch my hand. Show me that you're with me. So he just wants Spawny guy to just reach out and touch him. And Spawn says, not gonna do it. So the guy starts taking apart the other Hell Spawns, including Haunt and Focus. And it's a violent battle. Just an absolutely violent battle that you get to see here with Brett Booth's highly detailed artwork. And eventually Spawn says, take me on. You're the one that you came for me. You want me. So come find me and let's have at it. And you don't really know what's happened to Spawn, because they're kind of behind this wall of darkness. But he's proceeding to get his butt handed to him. Spawn is, until Poacher comes into play. And Poacher grabs the character psychically and proceeds to slice and dice him, which is what he does with his giant axe. But unfortunately, all that does is send out a signal to Hell to let Nyx know that he has failed. So now it's up to Spawn versus Nyx. You know, I thought about dropping this title a couple of issues ago, and especially with it going up to $3.99 from the long-standing $2.99. But I'm hooked. For the first time, you know, since the first, 6-7 issues with Todd McFarlane as artist, I'm hooked on Spawn. This book ain't going anywhere. It's sticking in the read pile. Okay. I'm not going to dig too deeply into the Power Fantasy issue 11, but I do have a better understanding and a better grasp of it, especially after reading the post-word by Kieran Gillen. But you have Etienne, and there's a birthday party for Heavy, one of the other supers. And Valentina is there. They're trying to get Jackie, who's no longer Jackie, but instead of Doppelganger. And they're trying to get all of the moving pieces together so that you can have a birthday party for Heavy. But it's all a cover for one of the supers to go bye-bye at the hands of one of their other supers. And it's what we've been talking about ever since issue 1, is what if you had all of these superpowered beings, but they couldn't fight with each other? Because if they fought with each other, the results would be disastrous and the world would practically come to an end because of the amount of damage that was done by this fight. Even if it was just 2 of them, then it would cause utter chaos between the others. and they would call for the end of the world. So, not going to spoil what happens at the end of this book, but Eliza shows off an amazing superpower. You get the birthday party, you get the surprise, and I'm back in. I'm back in. I was almost out, and now I'm back in. So I can't wait to see where this goes from issue 12 through at least issue 16. It's a lot to unpack. If you don't get a lot of books, you'll probably be okay. But if not, I would read this at the first of the pile because it will mentally drain you. You will be utterly exhausted by the time you finish reading one issue of this, because it's a lot of words, it's a lot of thought, it's a lot of philosophical banter, it's a lot of politics. There's a lot going on in this book. There's familial stressors that we've all dealt with between siblings. So, good job, Kieran Gillen. You got me back. By the way, the artist is Casper Wingard. So you guys have brought me back into the fold when I was just about to fold my cards and say I'm out. But instead, you reeled me back in. So, awesome, awesome book. All right, and last but not least for this is Transformers issue 23, the penultimate issue of Daniel Warren Johnson's run with Jorge Corona as artist. You get to see Ultra Magnus coming to terms with who he really is. He only ever wanted to be Prime. He only wanted to be as brave as Optimus Prime. But instead, he says, I don't know how to be brave, but I do know how to die. I can die for his dream, for a world that's better for all of us, including those who are small. We can all die, protecting the one who has been strong for us for so many years. Sounds like an allegory for a father or for a brother. Somebody who's been strong for you when you can't stand for yourself. You can't defend yourself. That's the most character growth I've seen Ultra Magnus go through in 2 pages than I've ever seen. And here he says, we can do this for Optimus Prime. Chilling. Just chilling. Meanwhile, you've got the Decepticons going up against the Autobots. You've got an absolute 2-page brawl for it all. And meanwhile, inside his mind, inside the Matrix, while Optimus is trying to crawl his way back out to the living world, he meets Sparkplug. And here they both find the love and the strength that they need to do what's necessary. Sparkplug heads toward the light, so to speak. And Optimus does too, but it's not time for Optimus to go. So instead, we're going to get the knockdown, drag out, final fight. Or at least final fight for next issue. In the next issue between Optimus Prime and Megatron. Daniel Warren Johnson has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into this book. And if you haven't been reading it and you're a Transformers fan from the G1 days back in 1980s like I am, I don't know why. Give this book a shot. You will love it. I promise you will, because he has taken these characters that we are so fond of and so beloved, and he's built them up into more than just a cartoon character. He's built them up into robots with emotion, with drive, with purpose. He's given these characters a reason to live and a reason to fight. So that's my stack for this week, guys. Thank you for joining me again. And the next video that you guys should see is going to be a greatest hits, talking about, where did it go? Fantastic Four, issue number 8. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful evening. By the way, happy new comic book day.